Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, good people. It is December 1st, 2021. This is Wake Up with Ray G, brought to you by Bets TV. Make sure you subscribe to the Wake Up with Ray G podcast, subscribe to Bets TV YouTube channel, and check out BetsTV.com for other dope content. But we're here. It's December, man. Where the hell has 2021 gone? This year has flown by. Santa Claus is coming to town in a mere 24 days. Jay, we started doing the elf on the shelf at the house. My son just thinks it's the coolest thing in the world that Chippy the elf was on his race car track this morning. So, man, the year's flown by, bro. How you doing this morning, man?
I'm good, man. I'm good. Can you actually explain to me the elf on the shelf? I feel like it's a bit before my time as a child. And so I'm just curious, and then the other thing I wanted to ask you is, have you started the advent calendars yet for the boys?
Well, we've got like an Advent, like Christmas tree thing, so we got to start that today. But the elf on the shelf, basically it's a story that this elf watches them at home, they watch them at school, and every night the elf flies to the North Pole to report to Santa what the kids have done. But as a parent, you got to like hide the elf and put the elf in weird spots, like hanging on the ceiling fan or sitting on top of the TV, and the kids can't touch the elf because then the magic goes away. So he woke up this morning, he's like, where's Chippy the elf? And then he was upstairs on the racetrack, and he turned the Christmas lights on. It's just cool, man. It's like you got to enjoy those moments of just innocence before it goes all out the window and they know, damn it, there's no Santa Claus and it's mommy and daddy buying all this shit. So you just got to appreciate the moment right now. So it was pretty cool. Good morning, Stone. Lindsey Mack, Lindsey Mack actually has a picture now. Lindsey Mack has been a blue box for about 4 months. Lindsey Mack actually has a picture now. What's up, Ricardo, Reed, Ty? What's up, my man? Ty doing dope stuff, man. But we got a lot to get to today, Jay. We will not have a show Thursday and Friday. I don't think we're going to have a show Thursday and Friday. I'll be out of town. But damn it, this is like episode 76. We can take 2 days. It's going to be all right. The world won't burn. We can take 2 days. We do this damn show every day. We'll be back bright and early next Monday, I think. Hopefully I don't get stuck in Mexico, but we'll be back. Jay, I don't know if you want to carry a show, but I'm just going to say we ain't going to be here Thursday and Friday, but the people will be all right. But we got a lot of news and notes to get into. Oh, Lindsey Mack said it's her and Myles Garrett. Wait a minute. Lindsey Mack, you're a Cleveland Browns fan too? I'm hoping you're a tad more objective than Matt Bruning down there. Oh, Mr. Ohio. It blows my mind because Matt lives in damn Texas, and he's just all in everything Ohio. So Lindsey Mack, another damn Browns fan. Good grief. Where do we pull these people from? Where do we pull these people from, Jay? But news and notes. Let's talk about the Golden State Warriors. Last night I watched that game because I wanted to see Chef Curry do a little something, and he was bricking a lot of shots last night. And the Warriors lost to the Phoenix Suns. This victory, the Phoenix Suns have now tied a franchise record for 17 straight wins. They've won 17 straight games, Jay?
And undefeated in November.
Oh, man. Suns are for real. Maybe they should have signed DeAndre Ayton to that long-term deal over the summer, man. Suns playing good ball, and they lost Devin Booker last night to a hamstring strain. Suns are dope, man. Western Conference is going to be brutal. I mean, Phoenix, Golden State, you've got LA, the Clippers, the Mavericks. It's going to be a murderer's row for that NBA playoff push. And once we start to fully dive into NBA content, that'll be really fun to talk about. That basketball playoffs are wild. Speaking of wild, LeBron James, he seems to be in the news every single day now, but he's entered health and safety protocols Jay called him LeBron anti-vax James. I thought he said he was vaccinated. LeBron said he's vaccinated.
He claims he's vaccinated. We'll see. I'll believe it when I see him get the needle in his arm.
LeBron said he wanted to do more research as well. He's still doing that research, heavy, intensive data from one King James. The recruiting world continues to be flipped on its head as USC lands the number 2 quarterback in the country in the 2023 class. Malachi Nelson is staying home. I'm still smiling. I am still just giddy with joy and excitement over Link. I ordered about 18 USC shirts the other day. I'm back, baby. I'm back. I threw all that shit away 2 years ago. I got rid of it. I turned one of the jerseys into a blanket for my wife, like it's a patch on a blanket for my wife. But I'm back now. USC, I am back full steam ahead with the USC Trojans hiring of Lincoln Riley, Malachi Nelson on his way to USC. Some dope college news from the women's side of the playing field. Man, Jay, you want to talk about these two young ladies from UConn that are signing big-time NIL deals?
Yeah, man. So Paige Becker, I call her Paige Buckets because everyone knows Paige gets buckets, and she got an NIL deal. She actually has 2 deals. The most recent one is with Gatorade. She's actually the first player in college to get a Gatorade deal. So that's pretty cool. You know, you think of a DJ Uiagalelei or, you know, one of these big-time college football stars to sign a deal with Gatorade. It was actually Paige Becker who was the first one to have that deal. And then as well, AZ Fudd. You know, you even mentioned you're not even sure who AZ Fudd is. She is a player who really stepped on the scene probably the past 2 or 3 years, where she really got her opportunity was she got invited to one of Steph Curry's camps when she was like 14 years old. And apparently they've had a connection ever since. And so it was reported today that AZ Fudd signed with Steph Curry's company, SC30 Incorporated, and he's going to mentor her throughout her career. So apparently back when they had that camp 2 or 3 years ago, they formed this connection. They've been tight ever since. They've been talking, and now she's officially signed to Steph Curry's company, and he's going to mentor her throughout her young career. She's a freshman at UConn right now, playing with one Paige Buckets. And I mean, AZ Fudd, Paige Buckets, that's basically championship lock and loaded for the next 3 years. But both players tremendously talented, deserve all the praise they get, and are probably going to be 2 of the faces of women's basketball going forward.
Man, that's really dope, man, to see that happen and see how these NIL deals are just playing out for these different athletes. I saw Bijan Robinson also signed an NIL deal with Canelo Alvarez's boxing company. So he's going to be doing like boxing promotions. I saw Treylon Burks, the wide receiver from Arkansas. He's a country boy. Arkansas is backwoods country. He signed an NIL deal with a hunting company, and there was a video of him talking about how nervous and excited he was out there hunting deer the other day. And it's just really cool to see these athletes take advantage of their name, likeness, and image. And this is something that should have been done a long time ago. Jay, when I was finishing up my last year of law school, when I was at St. John's, I had to do a dissertation on if student athletes were employees of an institution or just athletes. And I argued on the side of they were employees and therefore they should be paid. And now, 10 years later, it's coming to fruition. So happy for all of these young college athletes taking advantage of it. Major League Baseball. So quick labor negotiations, Jay. You guys were texting me this yesterday and said that's not good. The meeting lasted, a mere 30 minutes between, I guess, the union and Major League Baseball, whatever that is. And you said that's not a good sign, right?
Yeah, so they actually had 2 meetings. I was reading into it a little bit before the show. So they had the first meeting was about, they said 30 minutes, but realistically it was probably 10 to 15 minutes long. It's between the MLB Players Association and Major League Baseball. They're trying to put together a collective bargaining agreement. Usually these things do not happen quickly. There is a lot of tension for years. This isn't a recent issue. Years and years and years and years and years. Every time there's a labor negotiation between the Major League Baseball Players Association and Major League Baseball, it doesn't always end in a lockout, but it always short meetings, lots of tension, lots of arguments, lots of players talking crap on Twitter about MLB. It's just, and the biggest problem with it is arbitration rules and free agency. We were talking about how it's great to see all these young players get signed. The reason why it's happening is because baseball is starting to go away from that a little bit. It used to be you needed 6 years of eligibility in Major League Baseball until you were an unrestricted free agent, and 3 years until you were able to go to a judge for a judge to tell you how much you're worth. So not even like you get to negotiate fairly. You have to go to a neutral arbitrator to get that money, and then he sides with the guy, right? And we've talked about that before. So you think about that, that's like one of the biggest issues. And then as well, in the minors, players are held in the minors to avoid arbitration in future years down the line, right? So it's a lot of little issue with baseball that they're trying to get rid of. So these negotiations are always very contentious. But yeah, after I think it was a $1.5 billion spending spree, only about half of that by your local Texas Rangers. Now we're looking at a potential lockout. But they're closer. Arlington is closer, right?
Yeah, it is closer.
So we'll see what happens. But yeah, a lot of money spent before the negotiations and then a pending lockout by the end of the night because the collective bargaining agreement does expire tonight at midnight.
Okay. All right. There's that. And I just want to touch on Stone's comment or question right here. Would love to know your thoughts on Brian Kelly only meeting with Notre Dame for 11 minutes. Here's my thing, man. I mean, how long is he supposed to meet with him? Like, what do you want him to do? You know, the college world, having worked in it, I've worked in college athletics for 8 years. When I say it's the coldest, dirtiest game that there is, like, I mean, he's gone. He's not the coach anymore. And as much as people want to listen, they're only as loyal to that institution as the dollar, man. And at the end of the day, that's what it is. That's why I am a big fan of players doing what's in the best interest of players. When everybody keeps talking about, oh, go out there and do it for your school, play through the bowl game, you know, do it for your school pride, and you know the school has backed you and done so much for you. The hell with that. Do what's in the best interest of your financial situation. If you're a high-level prospect and playing in the podunk Sun Chip Bowl, if that's going to cause detriment or potentially cause detriment to your draft stock, screw that, man. Like, there's no loyalty to these schools. There's no loyalty to these coaches. Coaches been able to move around at will for years up until this one-time transfer rule. So Brian Kelly did what all other coaches do. Half the time, the coaches don't even get to say goodbye to their team. You know, when Lane Kiffin was removed as the USC head coach, they literally told him, you don't even need to get back on the plane. Like, see you later. Some of these coaches leave notes in lockers. So, I mean, what do you want him to say? I mean, how long should he have stayed there? An hour, 2 hours, talk to him, cry? Like, no, look, man, I accepted a new job. This is business. This is life. I wish you all the best. I'm out. Like, that's that. College game is a dirty game. That's why I'm happy these players can make money on their name, image, and likeness now. And I mean, in my opinion, that was adequate time to say what he needed to say and move on. There's no time to lament. It's recruiting season, so he needed to go. He's got to get down to Baton Rouge to start recruiting there. Notre Dame is in the rear view. So that's just my thoughts on the whole situation as far as these coaches leaving and telling their team and not telling their team. It's a business. It's a dirty business. It's a dirty game. If you left your job tomorrow, shit, I'm out. Like, I don't give a damn what y'all think. Like, whatever project I'm working on, that's your problem now. I'm out of here. And that may be a callous way of thinking about it. But when you're making $100 million from somebody, I don't give a damn. I am out. And those players, when they transfer, and we'll see the fallout from all that. We'll see these guys transfer. We'll see players move around because they have the opportunity to do that now. So, in my opinion, non-issue, in my opinion. Cold world, that's what it is. It's a business. But we've got to talk about some of the college games. We're going to get into Georgia, Alabama, college football playoff rankings. Did they get it right or wrong? Let's get into it. Beat the Rush.
Wake up! This is Beat the Rush.
Get out of the way, jackass! All right, let's start with the new college football playoff rankings that dropped. Here's your top 6, week 14. As expected, Michigan jumped up to number 2, as I think they got it right. Georgia at 1, Michigan at 2, Alabama 3, and Cincinnati 4, followed by Oklahoma State and Notre Dame. I think they got it right. Listen, and I get it. I understand Cincinnati is undefeated, but it's Cincinnati, man. It's Cincinnati. They're in the Final Four. They're going to make the college football playoff. It's just going to be about the seeding. Where will they be seated at? I would love to see Cincinnati versus Georgia, but I don't think we're going to get that. Looking at the way the rankings shaped up, if Alabama had been at 2 still, which I didn't think they would, I do think that would have opened the door for a 2-loss Alabama to still make the college football playoff. I've dug my heels in so deep on this issue now, I cannot backtrack. So I'm still going to say...
Sounds like you are, though. I can't
do it. I'm still going to say Alabama makes it, but it's not looking good for old GQ because I don't think there's a snowball's chance in hell that Alabama makes the Final Four after losing to Georgia this weekend. Now, interesting set of scenarios, right? Like, let's just play this out real quick. Alabama loses to Georgia. I need to put the image back up. Alabama loses to Georgia. Oklahoma State loses to Baylor. Okay? If that happens, then what? Does Notre Dame go into the top 4? Or does a 2-loss Alabama still get in? Let's play hypothetical matchmaker here. Alabama loses. Oklahoma State loses. So Cincinnati bumps up to 3. Georgia, we're expecting Michigan to beat Iowa, but
yeah.
Okay, let's just go all, let's go all chaos. Let's do one chaotic scene. Michigan loses, Alabama loses, Oklahoma State loses. If that happens, is there a way? Because at 7 is Ohio State, right? Ohio State is 7th. If Michigan, Alabama, and Oklahoma State loses, what's your top 4?
Then I think we go back to last week, right? I think we got to go back to Georgia, Alabama, Cincinnati, and Ohio State.
I think so, man. I still don't think Ohio State's out of it. I think they need Michigan, Alabama, and Oklahoma State to lose. Baylor's not getting in. They're not going to put Baylor in. If Baylor wins Big 12, they're not in. Cincinnati would bump up to 2. Alabama would be 3rd, and Ohio State would be 4th. And then we get Ohio State, Georgia still. Do we get I'm just asking. Where does I don't think they're going to put Notre Dame in without a head coach. I think the best case scenario for Alabama to make it is Michigan and Oklahoma State loses. And then I do think a 2-loss Alabama would get in. And they're ranked ahead of Ohio State. So if you're projecting Ohio State to jump into that top 4, Alabama has to be in there. The more likely outcome, I do think Baylor could beat Oklahoma State. I can see that happening. Baylor beats Oklahoma State. Georgia beats Alabama. Then what? So if Baylor beats Oklahoma State, let's just go with that scenario. Baylor beats Oklahoma State. Alabama loses to Georgia. Is Alabama in the top 4 still?
That's tough because my whole point with this debate is that if Oklahoma State, are we saying Oklahoma State still loses? Because then I think you put Oklahoma State in.
Yeah, let's just do
I don't
Oklahoma
think we
State
want to
loses.
see, because if they lose, then I think Alabama makes it. But because I don't think Ohio State's going to make it in over Alabama.
No. They're not going to do that.
Right?
They're not going to do that.
But then we're stuck with Alabama's playing Georgia again in the semis, like in whatever, the Sugar Bowl or the Cotton Bowl or whatever it is, the New Year's Six Bowl. So why do they I don't want that much chaos, but it's probably going to happen.
All I'm saying is,
what else are they going to do?
Listen, we didn't think Michigan had a chance last week, and they pounded Ohio State, right?
Oh, yeah, they did.
We thought Alabama was just going to roll through Auburn, and it took them 4 OTs in order to get it done. I just don't think it's a foregone conclusion that all 5 of these teams that are in action this Saturday win out. The odds say otherwise, right? That somebody's going to take an L that probably doesn't need to. If the issue is, if Oklahoma State loses, would the College Football Playoff Committee put Alabama at 4 just to do a repeat of the SEC title game? I don't know if they would do that. So then they'd have to put them at 3, right? They'd have to keep them at 3. Cincinnati at 4 still? A 2-loss Alabama over an undefeated Cincinnati? That's when it starts to get a little bit like, all right, man, I'm not even the biggest Cincinnati fan, but come on, bro. They're undefeated. Alabama just lost handedly. We don't want to see that again. And that's what Brandon said. Alabama can't be 4th because no one wants a rematch of Georgia. And that's what I'm saying. And Bruning said it. Put Cincinnati at 4th. And that's the F part about it. At that point, I'd be like, all right, come on, College Football Playoff Committee. And yeah, I'm with Stone. I think America hopes Cincinnati loses this weekend. I don't know if Houston has enough to get it done. I just don't. I don't think Houston has enough to get it done. Cincinnati, it's not just Desmond Ridder. They've got playmakers on the outside and on the defensive side of the ball. They've got some studs at cornerback. I'm prepared. I am fully prepared for just chaos this weekend. And we talked a little bit about Georgia and Alabama. Here it is. Georgia's only see, this is what I'm saying. They're only favored by 6.5. They're only, so let's just.
But I think it's a fair line, though. I think it's a fair line, personally.
And all I'm saying is, if Alabama, this was my whole argument. Odds makers aren't even saying they believe this is going to be a blowout, right? So if Alabama can keep it, even if they lose, if Georgia doesn't cover and they win by 3, or they win by 4, or they win by 1, or it goes to, if that happens, Alabama is not dropping out of the top 4. I promise you all. You can say Oklahoma State all you want. You can talk about all these other scenarios. If this game goes according to what Vegas odds makers are saying right now, Alabama, with 2 losses, will be in the college football playoff. They're telling you right now. They're telling 100%. You right now. Well, they kept it close. It is the SEC champs. It is Georgia. They deserve another shot at the college football playoff. I'm just telling you what's going to happen. Telling you.
Yeah, if that's how it plays out, 100%. I don't even think they drop to 4. Because why would you? Does Cincinnati really have a better chance of giving Georgia a 3-point game than Alabama? Probably not. Probably not. I think more than likely, if you have Cincinnati in that game, they're probably 10 to 14 point dogs.
Oh easily. Yeah, that line's 14.5. They're not even giving you 13. That line's 14.5.
Yeah, where Bama, you get the respect, you get the Nick Saban effect, you get the familiarity. Georgia's lost 7 straight games to Alabama. Like, take that in. 7 straight. But they're favored in this game. They have the better defense. They've been playing better. They're undefeated. And yet, I'm still like, I don't know. Like, I don't think it's a pick 'em. I think the line is fair, though. I think the line is fair. I think Georgia should be favored by about 7. Do I think they can cover? Absolutely. Absolutely, I think they can. But I don't think it should be a massive 10-point spread because Georgia's not that good on offense.
Well, and let's not get it twisted, right? Alabama's still 7th in the country in defense themselves. Like, they still have a very good defense, and this is going to be the best defense that Stetson Bennett has had to play. And Stetson Bennett isn't some high-level NFL draft quarterback. He's getting it done. He's taking his shots to Jermaine Burton. He's taking his shots to Brock Bowers. And I do wonder if George Pickens potentially being back, I think he's going to be back for this game. Yeah, are you trying to force feed to get George Pickens the ball? What are you – Alabama's – say what you want about them offensively, which they've struggled offensively of late. Will Anderson and that defense is still very, very good. I mean, outside of a couple of plays, Auburn couldn't do anything against them. Well, we saw them give up some – Ole Miss, they completely shut down Matt Corral and Ole Miss. So while offensively, this is not the same Alabama team that we've seen in the past, and defensively, I don't think it's the same Bama that we've seen in the past either. There's still a top 10 defense in college football. I think the line is right. And again, I've just been saying it for weeks. If they keep the game close, which I think they can based on their defense, as long as they don't turn the damn ball over, they keep it close. And there's something to be said, man. Like, Alabama's a dog. They're the defending national champions, and they're a dog to a team that they've beat 7 straight times. You better believe that they're going to come in and say, no one has given us a shot. And what happens? No, listen, we just saw this happen last weekend. Nobody picked Michigan to win this game. Not even Michigan fans. Deep down inside, they hoped. They were like, man, I'm a Michigan fan. I hope. No one picked Michigan. And they went out there and stomped Ohio State. What if Alabama wins that game? What if Alabama wins that game?
That's interesting because if they win the game, I think they're number 1 seed.
Oh, they're the
I think they have to be number 1 seed.
Of course.
But it's crazy to think that they have a legitimate shot. And it's just because Kirby Smart, whether it's demons, whether it's whatever, he just doesn't play against Alabama very well. Georgia doesn't play very well against Alabama. The games are close. The games are low scoring. Like, this over-under is 50 points, and that feels way too high. To your point about George Pickens, he did come back last week against Georgia Tech and played 2 snaps in the first half.
Yeah, but
and then they just took him out after that. It's small things. But it's good to see him on the field, right? It's encouraging. It's seeing him in a game. Okay, he didn't do a whole lot, but at least they're getting him reps in a game instead of just in practice. Then you talk about Alabama, they're going to have to use him. Like, they're going to have to use him against Alabama. That's not a question, but they will have to be selective. So he will get his shots. He will get his opportunities. But I think it all comes down to Bryce Young versus Jordan Davis in that defense. This is the matchup. Yep. No one really cares so much about the other side. We know it'll be formidable. We know that Georgia can run the ball. We know that Bama's a great defense. But it's this great offense, which is 7th still in the country, versus the number 1 defense in the country, only allowing 230 yards per game and only allowed 9 touchdowns on the season. We'll see. Bryce Young didn't have the best game last week in Auburn. This game's in Atlanta. It's in the Mercedes-Benz Stadium.
Yeah.
So I don't know if it's neutral site per se.
That's a home game. That's a home game. That's
just where the SEC is contracted out to play. So Georgia should have a massive advantage as far as home field goes.
I was just in Atlanta for Thanksgiving, and there's already Georgia shit everywhere. When we landed at the air, I mean, all you saw was just Georgia Bulldogs at flags. Like the people in Texas that fly the big Trump flags on the back of the pickup truck, all you saw was Georgia Bulldog flags next to Trump flags flying down the interstate in Atlanta. I mean, they are ready. They are ready for this game. And luckily for Alabama, they do get Jamison Williams for the entire game because thank goodness he was ejected in the first half. So they get J-Mo back. I think this is going to be a good game. And I see Bruning and some people talking about throw history out of the window. Listen, man, Matt, you know as well as anybody else, any given Saturday, like I've seen so much chaos in my time. And real quick, I just want to make a point. I want to deviate real quick because I saw a lot of people talking about the Heisman Trophy this year, and I do think Bryce Young is going to win that, so I'll cash that ticket here in a couple of weeks. But I wholeheartedly believe Aiden Hutchinson or Will Anderson are the best. Those are the best two players in college football. And for those of you who do not remember, and Jay, you probably weren't like active in the college football space in 2009, but Ndamukong Suh, go look up what Ndamukong Suh did to Colt McCoy in the University of Texas offense in the Big 12 championship game in 2009. I think that was the best shot that we've seen ever for a defensive player to win the Heisman Trophy. When I say I have not, and I'm not speaking out of turn, in my lifetime, seen a better individual performance on the defensive side of the ball in a big game ever, Ndamukong Suh, I mean, he almost, as a defensive tackle, almost won that game for Nebraska versus Texas. I think he had 5 sacks in that game and just terrorized the top team in the country at the time. Texas was running through everybody. When I say he destroyed Colt McCoy in that Texas offense, and Ndamukong Suh 100% should have won the Heisman Trophy that year. And when he didn't, he lost it to Mark Ingram. Toby Gerhart was second in the Heisman. And I think Tim Tebow was third, with Ndamukong Suh finishing fourth. I said there's no defensive player is ever going to win the damn award. If Suh couldn't get it done in that season, I don't think any defensive player can. And Aiden Hutchinson and Will Anderson are 100% deserving of it. But until the voters change their line of thinking, it's just not going to happen, man. I mean, and Bruning said it. Look at Suh's stats for the whole season. Yeah, but irregardless of that, Bruning, on the biggest stage, in your Heisman moment, your final game before, and this was pre-college football playoffs, I just urge you to YouTube Ndamukong Suh versus Texas and watch what he did to them. He 100% should have won the damn Heisman that year, but neither here nor there. What'd you say, Jay?
4.5 sacks, and he did win an AP Player of the Year.
He won AP Player of the Year and didn't win the Heisman, man. I'm telling you, bro, it was unlike it. When I say dominating college football that year, he dominated college football. It was impressive. It was insane to watch what he did. But we've got to get to some NFL games, and we are going to start with the team that I'm wearing. I've got on the Dak Prescott college jersey. Got a rep. No helmet. We can't play those games. Cannot play those games. But we are rocking the Dak Prescott Mississippi State jersey. But where's the damn thing at? Dallas versus New Orleans. Must-win matchup tomorrow night. Dallas is only favored by 4.5. It opened up, I believe, at 6.5. And then the line has fallen to 4.5. Over under 47 points. Amari Cooper, he's not even going to be back tomorrow, man. I mean, he hasn't been able to get out of COVID protocol. Missed practice again on Tuesday. So thoughts and prayers to Coop, man, who's obviously not dealing with the virus very well. On the Saints side of the ball, C.J. Gardner-Johnson, their defensive back, was placed on IR. Alvin Kamara got in another limited practice. No Marcus Davenport, so that's good for Dallas. We're expecting Taysom Hill to start at quarterback. He's taking all the first-team reps in practice. We've all been wondering why their $100 million quarterback is not played all season. So Taysom Hill is, I believe, 7 for 8 passing on the entire season, and he's got about 140-something rushing yards. Listen, I think they're just going to try to run the ball down Dallas's throat. The Saints still have one of the best run defenses in the NFL. Jerry Jones said, and I quote, Ezekiel Elliott is going to have a load or get a load this weekend, not even of work. He's going to have a load this weekend. So, unfortunately, we're going to have to see Ezekiel Elliott plod his way to 70 yards in 6-yard runs, but that's where we're at. Listen, they've been, who's this? The Dallas Cowboys. Oh, Jay, what do you think? I think this is the prime trap game for Dallas, coming off of, again, another, just played last Thursday. Here they go again on Thursday. Whoever set the schedule is unfair to Dallas. But what are your thoughts in this one? I am nervous. I'll tell you that right now, because that run defense is good. I do think Dallas is getting back to Marcus Lawrence, which is good. Neville Gallimore at defensive tackle. Get Tristan Hill the hell out of there. He's already suspended, but get him off the field. Neville Gallimore comes back. DeMarcus Lawrence is back. Micah Parsons is going to have a lot of opportunities to get after Taysom Hill. I think they're just going to try to run the ball.
Yeah, no, I think you nailed it, man. There's a lot of interesting narratives in this game. The main one to me is this whole Zeke scenario. I don't really believe Jerry Jones. I just don't. But maybe he will get a lot of work. Because like you said, he's just going to plod his way to like 60 or 70 yards. We'll see what happens. I think they do need to run the ball more, because that defense is playing a lot of snaps. They're playing the second most snaps in the past month. New Orleans has played the 9th most snaps on defense in the last month. So both these defenses are struggling, mainly because both these offenses are playing so poorly. We saw it last week against the Raiders. Tons of snaps on defense. By the end of the game, Dallas' defense was cooked. The Raiders' defense was cooked. Nobody could get any stops, and the game was just god-awful from penalties perspective, points galore. And I think we're not going to see the same thing. I think we're going to see a lot of running in this game. We're going to see some Tony Jones. We'll see some Kamara. We'll see some Mark Ingram. We'll see lots of Power. We'll see lots of Zeke. But I'm not expecting a whole lot in the passing game. We might see some CeeDee Lamb, but he's going to be more than likely matched up with Marshawn Lattimore. That's not the best matchup. We've seen some players take advantage of that. But I think better chances you'll see more Michael Gallup. You'll see some Dalton Schultz, because that's where the Saints are beatable, right? We know that they're pretty good against the run. They've been getting worse, but they're pretty good against the run. It's the pass where they're allowing like 251 yards a game, and that's where Dallas is able to exploit it, is with Gallup, with Schultz in the middle of the field. Lattimore, we'll see what he does. Every game, sometimes he plays up, sometimes he plays down.
Dalton Schultz, baby. I told y'all, Dalton Schultz, baby. Dalton Schultz
is playing well.
Yeah.
But I think for me, I think this game is probably going to be an under. We see 47.5. I think it's probably going to go under. I think there's probably a lot more running in this game than we're hoping to see. Dallas at 4.5. I just don't really buy it. They're just not playing very well. I think the Saints have as good a shot as any to win this game. They're playing at home. Dallas has got to travel. Again, they're dealing with injuries, COVID.
Yeah.
Maybe Mike McCarthy's a better coach than we let on, and maybe Kellen Moore kind of muffs this game a little bit.
He's not even the interim coach this game.
Is it going to be Quinn?
It's Dan Quinn, yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
so we know how successful of a head coach he is. So bet the Saints money line, bet the Saints to cover by 10, and we'll see what happens. But no, I think it'll be a close game. I'm not ready to bet Dallas on the spread. I want to say under, but we'll see. It's a tough game to project. And then I see Dak at like 286 passing yards. Oh man, I just don't know.
286 for Dak. 284 for Dak.
Yeah, 284.5, 1.5 touchdowns. I don't know, man. Every week, Dak's he hasn't been good enough.
I think
some weeks he show up.
I like the 1.5 touchdowns because
minus 220.
Yeah, I like that. You said it's minus or plus 220?
Minus 220 to go over.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
No, that's. Yeah, I probably wouldn't touch this game, to be honest with you. I'd be interested to see Tony Pollard. Does Tony Pollard have any props up for TP? Check Tony Pollard.
I got Schultz for you at 43 yards. I kind of like that number.
Who's that, Schultz?
Last week. Yeah.
What's that, minus 110?
Yeah, it's just straight up odds on both sides, minus 115. Yeah. And then you also have Tony Pollard only score a touchdown right now.
That's it?
Him and Zeke. Yeah, Zeke plus 125, Pollard plus 230 to score. Don't really like either number. I think they're probably about right.
I like Pollard at plus 230 to score a touchdown.
On BetMGM, yeah, but he's plus 130 on FanDuel, so maybe that's where your edge is.
If you get plus 230, I think you lay a little bit on that, man. That's not, especially when it's 100-point difference from the books. I kind of like that, man. I don't know. I don't know. Dak stack with Schultz, that'd be like plus 175 to 190. Yeah, you could do a little parlay there, a little player prop parlay. Bruning, go ahead.
How about Taysom Hill at plus 200 to score? I think that's a good bet.
That's a good bet too. I think that's a good bet. I think
as good a shot as anyone to rush for touchdown.
I think G-Lay, is that, dude, how would we, I got it's not Giles, but damn it, we're gonna call him Giles.
I don't know if it's Guy or not.
I think it is Guy.
He's French, right?
No, but it's not just Guy. It's not just Guy. I think it's Guy. It's fancy. I know that. Double G. I call him Gucci, man. Gucci Mane. I know the touchdown king himself is probably gonna have some plays on that one. But I like Tony Pollard. I like Taysom Hill to score touchdowns. I do, and I think you could if you parlay those two together, that's pretty nice, right? You know, plus.
Okay, now we're talking about parlays. Whew.
Just a small
time to hop into the FTN parlay calculator where you can get all of your parlay odds shopping needs.
While I start previewing the Los Angeles Chargers versus the Bengals, hop into that parlay calculator and see what Tony Pollard and Taysom Hill would give us if we just tease it a little bit there, just do a little something there. All right. But we've got Justin Herbert versus Joe Burrow, the top two quarterbacks from 2020 class facing off. This one, Cincinnati is favored by 3.5, over under 50. The Bengals are cooking. They're 7-4. Chargers are coming off of a bad loss versus Denver. This is your game of the week. This is going to be a good one, man. Joe Mixon, who has gone berserk in his last two games, he's averaged 29 carries, 144 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Averaged. And now he's going up against the worst rushing defense in the NFL. Jay Rich in the show sheet, all I see is big letters that says over, over, over. We mentioned it yesterday. The Bengals are playing very good football at the moment. And we thought, basically just running the ball. Like Mixon is carrying this team. They've kind of shifted their philosophy. It was like air it out early. And now they're like, you know what? We're going to just bludgeon people to death on the ground. So this is looking like it's setting up very well for Joe Mixon to hit his over. It's Wednesday, so I don't believe there are any lines out on Joe Mixon right now. But I would check Prize Picks early because normally their lines when they first come out are pretty favorable. So I'm with you against this defense. I don't care what Joe Mixon's line opens up at for rushing yards. I'm taking the over. Cincinnati's 6th in the NFL in points per game. Points per game allowed due to their much improved rushing defense and defensive line play. This is Justin Herbert's got to get it together, man. Justin Herbert's got to get it together. Jay, I see you laughing. Do we have any lines on the parlay?
Oh, the line on the parlay is it's 8-8. It's almost 9-1 basically.
That's not bad.
If you put $10, you win 89
for just Taysom Hill and Tony Pollard.
Taysom Hill, Tony Pollard. So plus 200 and plus 230 on those two bets. But what I was laughing at is this Joe Mixon line of only 80 yards against the Chargers on Prize Picks.
Oh, see what I'm saying?
80 yards.
See what I'm saying, bro? Man, I'll take the over. You taking the over on that? He's he's averaging 29 carries and 144 yards and 2 touchdowns. I mean,
yeah, like that is insanely low against one of the worst defenses in football. That is, where Jonathan Taylor is playing Houston, his line's at 100 yards.
Who?
I think Jonathan Taylor, his line's he's against Houston, but he's still 100 yards. And the Chargers have a worse defense than Houston does. Houston's second worst, to be fair. Crazy. But it's nuts to me how bad they are. It's just crazy. But that's how they play. They let you run the ball at will. And that's why they lose games, because teams just run the ball on them. Like, I don't know if you saw that play against Javonte Williams. The Chargers are at their own 9-yard line. They had 2 down linemen and 1 linebacker against 5 offensive linemen and Javonte Williams in the backfield. What do? Right up the middle and just walks into the end zone. what are the Chargers doing on defense? Like, I have never seen a more boneheaded defensive play than to have basically 9 guys spread out wide, covering all these receivers, and just letting Javonte Williams run
at
right
their
in the end.
9-yard line?
Yeah, not even like the 20 or the 9-yard line. 2 down linemen basically between the guards and the tackles
maybe they were just
on both sides and one linebacker.
Maybe they were like, let them score so we can get the ball back.
I've just never seen anything like it. Was one of the most bizarre plays I've ever seen.
Does Prospects have something on Jamar Chase? Does Jamar Chase
Let me find it.
Yeah, see if Jamar Chase has anything. Is there anything else, Stone? How many projected 50-plus over-unders have actually delivered this year? Good question. I don't know. It's a good question. What's Jamar Chase at?
60 yards. You got to hit for the over. It seems a little high. It really does.
It seems high, but then it also seems like it's one play.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But the Chargers pass defense is good, though, and I think Asante Samuel is projected to be back, and I think they're going to be using Derwin James a little bit on that back end to cover Chase because he's the guy everyone focuses on, and that's why I like T. Higgins a lot in some of these matchups because no one covers him.
Yeah.
Like Joe Burrow literally threw up a YOLO ball, and he's like, and just got it because that's who T. Higgins is, and when he's in single coverage like that, he's going to beat his man more often than not. And I think that's where Chase is struggling. He's getting doubled. Deservedly so, but Higgins is the beneficiary of that, and he's going to be until Chase finally stops getting so much coverage.
Has Tyler Boyd done anything this year? I never hear his name called. It's just T. Higgins, Joe Burrow.
Tyler Boyd ain't. Yeah, Tyler Boyd is dead now.
Well, here goes another stank game. The Arizona Cardinals versus the Chicago Bears. I mean... All right, let's talk about it, right?
Come on, you're excited. You're excited. You want to see some Kyler Murray.
I'm excited to see Kyler Murray. Arizona, they are handling everything just well. You know what I mean? Like, they sat Kyler out for like 4 weeks because he had apparently that high ankle sprain after that game that they lost. And they sat DeAndre Hopkins out, and now they're both fully healthy. They're back when it matters most, coming off of a bye. So, yes, I am excited to see Kyler Murray. I am excited to see DeAndre Hopkins. I'm not excited to see – I don't know who's playing quarterback. Is it – Fields is out, right? It's going to be Andy
We don't know yet. There haven't been any announcements because, Fields came into the training room on Monday. They're in the facility. He's getting worked on. So there's been no official announcement yet as to who's going to be starting. I think it will be Dalton. Dalton's been playing actually pretty well.
He hasn't played bad,
while he didn't have the best game, they're actually be able to move the ball down the field in the passing game, which Fields has struggled with at times. Against this Arizona defense, I don't really want to throw Fields out there, especially if he's not 100%. They're going to be all after him. Arizona's defense is really good. They're, I believe, 4th in the NFL against the pass. They're one of the top scoring teams. They've been getting tons of sacks, tons of pressure. It's just not a game you want to throw Justin Fields into if he's not healthy. But again, this game is in Soldier Field. So I think that's going to play a factor. It's going to be cold. It might be raining. It might be snowing. I live in Toronto. And our weather seems to mimic Chicago's, Buffalo's, Massachusetts quite a bit. And it's been snowing here. It's been cold. Yeah. It's been raining. So you never know what weather you might see. I think that's going to pose problems a little bit for Arizona. These games, we're getting into that season now where we're going to start seeing lower totals. We're going to start seeing a lot of running the ball.
Yeah.
And the way that you beat Arizona is on the ground. They're not as good on the ground as they are through the air, which means lots of David Montgomery, probably a little bit of Khalil Herbert. And I think we're going to see a lot of James Conner as well. Both these running backs have been successful. I think both these running backs can win in this game, as well with the weather and kind of what I'm expecting to see. I'm expecting this game to go under. I think Murray has a good game, but I don't think they need to do a ton to win it. Yeah. And I think that's the reason why they're going to be kind of light this week because they play the Rams next week in SoFi. So they kind of want to just survive this game, get through it, go through the motions, not put too much on tape. Because I'm sure they've been practicing a lot of stuff over their bye. Yeah. But I think they want to just kind of cruise to this victory. And I think these Arizona Cardinals can do that pretty easily. Don't love the spread at, I believe it's 7.5 right now.
7.5.
But I think it's probably going to go under. And I think that the Carolina defense can take Carolina. The Cardinals defense can take care of business against the Bears this week.
So A-Rob, is there any news on A-Rob? Is A-Rob in, out?
Haven't heard anything from A-Rob. So I looked it up this morning. He had his hamstring injury, kept him out of Thanksgiving, but no updates on his status right now. I don't think he's going to play, but again, if he doesn't play, just give me all the Mooney because Mooney is playing out of his mind.
I was going to say Darnell Mooney, man. Mooney, we called that one over the summer, Jay. We were bullish on Darnell Mooney. Where does Allen Robinson play at next year? New England? You want him in New England?
Yuck. Where is he going to play? I have no clue.
New England needs a receiver, man. They need a receiver.
They do, but let's try and I don't.
Think about it.
I don't love it. He's good, but
if New England could get a free agent wide receiver,
can we get Chris Godwin?
Well,
don't you think that's a better fit?
Whomever it is, you get a free agent wide receiver, that frees up that draft pick that you don't have to spend on a rookie, and then you can focus on defensive line. You can find a defensive lineman, a cornerback. Like, I think they're in a good position if they can. And I think, listen, receivers want to catch the ball. Receivers want their numbers, and when you've got an accurate quarterback, that is a receiver. Like, look what Drew Brees did for Michael Thomas. I mean, they want that level of volume. They want a quarterback that's going to be accurate, put it on them, I love Devontae Smith. I love Rashad Bateman. I'm pretty sure playing in those offenses has to be a little bit frustrating when when you're only getting limited opportunities every game because you just run the ball 50 times. That's got to be tough. Like, damn, I didn't want to be drafted to be a blocking wide receiver.
Wide receiver.
I think when you've got a quarterback like Mac Jones, it's a destination for a lot of pass catchers who want their numbers, man. They want to get paid too, and the best way to get paid is to produce. How do you produce? You got to catch the ball. In order to catch the ball, you need a quarterback that's going to throw the ball. And you've got one of the most accurate quarterbacks in the NFL in Mac Jones. So I do think they're going to be able to attract some free agent wide receivers. Unfortunately, they gave a lot of money to Aguilar. Kendrick Bourne looks good, though. I think they've got something with Kendrick Bourne. It's crazy he was on San Francisco. But let's move to the Washington football team versus the Raiders. All right. 2.5 right now, over under 49.5. The football team has been god-awful to watch the past few weeks unless you're an Antonio Gibson fan and you just kind of like Taylor Heineke. The Raiders, after winning one of the more exciting games of the NFL season over Dallas, I'm just Ron Burgundy reading this. These are not my words. It definitely was not exciting. But Derek Carr is leading the NFL in passing, which is crazy. And going up against the third worst passing defense in the NFL, I would expect Derek Carr to have more success than Russell Wilson and the Seattle Seahawks versus the defense. Listen, the Washington football team, they're allowing 266 passing yards per game and 26.5 points per game. And Josh Jacobs, he's been playing good. Josh Jacobs is running well. He's off of the injury report. I mean, I'm nervous. I mean, we lost.
Come on, get excited, man. Get excited. The Raiders are covering this game, baby. I believe in them.
Listen, I need them to win. Well, I need them to win because Washington, offensively, they're just finding ways to get it done, man. They just keep finding ways to get done, and they are firmly in the NFC East is still wide open. Like, it's still, I know Dallas has a 2-game lead, but the football team is right there. The Eagles are still kind of there. We need the Raiders to get it done. And do you think they get it done versus Washington?
Absolutely. Okay. It's very rare that a team loses their best defensive player and they actually get better on defense. Now, statistically, that has been the case, but I'm not expecting that to continue this week. We've seen the Raiders do some pretty good things. You know, they got beat up for about a month, and they didn't play very good football, but they went into Dallas. They overcame some pretty bad circumstances, a lot of penalties, a lot of issues with the offensive line. The defense wasn't playing very well, but they came together. They got a big win. I think it's going to propel them going forward because they still got to compete. They got to go against the Chargers. They got to go against the Chiefs. They got to go against Denver, who played really well last week. But I think they know that they're in contention now. The Chargers are not playing well. They're 6-5. I believe that the Raiders are at least 6-5, potentially even better than that. And the Chiefs, they're playing better. They're probably going to win the division now. But I think the Raiders know they got a shot. And with everything that's going on, they had that month stretch where they really, really struggled. I'm sure there was chemistry issues. I'm sure they were still learning how to play without Henry Ruggs. Deshaun Jackson looks like he's definitely helping out that offense. He's making plays. He's stretching the field. We'll see what happens with Bryan Edwards, but they didn't really need Darren Waller.
Nothing's going to happen with Bryan Edwards. Stop this Bryan Edwards.
I'm just saying, we'll see what happens.
I'm telling you,
Darren Waller's not going to play.
I've already seen what happens. Nothing ever happens.
Darren Waller's not going to play. Hunter Renfrow.
He's good.
Very good.
He's good. Hunter Renfrow's
indisputable.
Good.
Very
good.
Bad
white boy, man. He's good. Bad, man.
And Josh Jacobs been playing well. I think that they're going to be able to put up some numbers in Vegas. I think it's going to be a good game. And I'm expecting some high point totals. We'll see what happens with Taylor Heineke and Antonio Gibson. But I'm expecting a bit of points, a close game, and hopefully something exciting.
Is what?
Doubtful.
Hey,
Hunter Renfrow, haven't. What has he done anyways? Like, he hasn't done a whole lot.
Hunter Renfrow's gonna eat. How many years has he been in the league? 3? It's about time for him to be up for an extension. Man, I'd love.
I think it's his 3rd year. Yeah.
I'm about to be that guy, and I'd love to see him in New England. Man, just get him there with. Like, for real though, like he just fits the mold.
Come on. Then you throwing him into the Wes Welker, the Julian Edelman, the Cole Beasley mold. He's better than that.
It's worked all these years. Go get Hunter Renfrow. Get rid of Aguilar, dude. Hunter Renfrow with Mac Jones, he'd be a perennial 110 catch receiver every year. Like, could
you imagine though, like how much Bill is probably salivating to get Hunter Renfrow when he's up for extension? He would probably pay him whatever he wants. He'd give him $10 million a year. They would throw him into that offense. He'd be 150 target guy for like 950 yards.
No. Renfrow can actually crack one, man. Renfrow is good, like legit good. So yeah, I hope the Raiders get it done versus the Washington football team. The last game we're going to talk about, the Denver Broncos versus the Kansas City Chiefs. This is the Sunday night matchup. Kansas City is favored by 10. I feel like we haven't seen them play in a while, man. They're just coming off of a bye. So they've had some time to regroup, another week to get Clyde Edwards-Helaire a little more healthy, work on that defense. It's been playing well. Chris Jones and company, Frank Clark, Tyrann Mathieu. Kansas City is starting to come into form when it matters most. This one could be a lot closer than the spread indicates because Denver is playing really well. And what I'm excited for is Patrick Surtain Jr. against Tyreek Hill. I'm excited to see this young cornerback because he's, listen, as great as Micah Parsons has been, Surtain is right there. Like, he's right there. And I don't know what defensive rookie of the year odds are. I still think that Micah Parsons should be the favorite. You can look that up, Jay. But I'm pretty sure Pat Surtain Jr. is right behind him. He's been incredible for Denver. The Chiefs have been playing closer to what we expect from them, but their defense still isn't very good. It's just not as awful as it has been, and you're right about that. Like, they're not very good, but they're not as bad as they've been playing. And the Denver Broncos are top 10 in yards allowed and are coming off a game in which they just gave Justin Herbert fits because that secondary is just so good with PS2. Bridgewater is not 100%. He's got a shin injury. You never want to see Teddy Bridgewater having lower extremity injuries, but he's got a lot of playmakers around him. Sutton, Judy, Fant, Alberto, and Denver's offensive line, they've been giving up a lot of pressure this season, and only the Seahawks are worse when it comes to allowing pressure on dropbacks. So that provides a good catalyst for Chris Jones and Frank Clark. Where are we at? Did you look up the Defensive Rookie of the Year odds?
Well, I just put his name into the prop shop and nothing popped up. So I'm not sure if they're maybe adjusting odds right now.
For Surtain?
But yeah, but I think more so for this game, I want to see how Javonte Williams plays. Javonte Williams, CEH are my two kind of cornerstone guys to watch because we've seen Javonte Williams take on a larger and larger role in this offense. I'm hoping that through the rest of the season, they start to give him a bigger and bigger role in the offense. They've been still kind of splitting with Melvin Gordon, but I think Javonte Williams is getting those more valuable carries. And for those of us in fantasy who've been waiting for the Javonte Williams explosion, I just don't know if it's going to come, but I'm hoping that throughout the season they give him some more opportunities because he's earned it, man. Like every play, we talk about A.J. Dillon running guys over. Javonte Williams is right there with guys who can just get run over in a second. He does not go down on first contact. He is not easy to tackle. And he's going to be a problem going forward. I'm just not sure if he's going to get the keys this season. We know next season beyond, Melvin Gordon's going to get cut, traded, whatever. But this season, I hope that Denver can learn from their mistakes and just give him the rock more because it's making that offense better. It's protecting the quarterback. It's keeping the defense off the field. It's just making things much easier when you give Javonte Williams the ball. Melvin Gordon, he has his role. He can catch passes. He's solid between the tackles. But I don't know, man. I think his days are numbered. I kind of wish that Denver would just kind of move on from him a little bit, spare him a little bit, but we'll see. Your point about PS2 and Tyreek Hill, I don't know how good of a matchup it's going to be. I think it's going to be a great matchup for PS2, man.
I think it's going to be a great matchup.
Do you think he'll face him up though?
Yes.
Or do you think they just they play sides?
Surtain's big and fast, and cornerbacks that have given Tyreek Hill trouble are cornerbacks who aren't afraid to get up on him. to get physical with him, and they have the speed to run with him. And while Surtain may not be as fast as Tyreek Hill straight line, I think he's going to be matched up with him. And I do think he's a rookie, so I think Tyreek could get him a couple of times, but I think that's going to be a really, really good matchup. And I looked it up. DraftKings right now has him at plus 750 to win Defensive Rookie of the Year, and Micah Parsons is still minus 500. We talked about Mac Jones yesterday, minus 300 as the odds-on favorite. Interesting, Jalen Waddle is now third at plus 3,500 to win it, and Elijah Mitchell.
Have you looked at his stats?
Oh, I know Jalen Waddle's. I think he's the second player in NFL history, like the second most receptions in NFL history at this point in his career. I know he's pacing for over 100 receptions and over 1,000 yards. Why are we not talking about him being the generational wide receiver? Because I think he's playing.
He's already got a full season worth of targets, receptions, and yards.
Give it to me.
This season in 12 games.
Give it to me. I want to hear it. Give it to me right now.
103 targets, 77 receptions, 759 yards, and 4 touchdowns through 12 games, catching 75% of his passes.
It's good. That's why
which is insane.
That's why Jalen Waddle was our wide receiver 3 coming into the draft. That's why he's our wide receiver 3. I mean, I know what I'm talking about.
A lot of people did not want.
Listen, man, a lot of people
think Jalen Waddle be good, and he is damn good.
A lot of people give me heat over the Jalen Reagor call, but damn it, if you go back through all the ones I got right, that should make up for that one blunder of a call, man. Because I got a lot of them right. Jalen Waddle was somebody we were both very bullish on, and he's delivering right now. Anything else, Jay? I mean, I saw Stone drop this earlier. Why would Kingsbury leave Arizona for Oklahoma? He won't. He absolutely
you don't do that.
That's a downgrade. Phoenix to Norman. I mean, no, thank you, no, thank you. Anything else, Jay? Before we get out of here for the week, man.
No, I think that's it. We covered our favorite games. I'm excited to watch. I'll probably still watch the Big Ten champ. I doubt I'll watch anything else outside of the SEC champ. I'm really excited for that game, man. Like Georgia, Alabama. There's very few games that I get up for more than Georgia and Alabama. It'll be a good one.
Bruning, some people had Marshall at WR2, but I can't.
Yikes.
What I'm not gonna do is bash them because I had Reagor at wide receiver 2. And that was wide receiver too many for him. He was wide receiver too damn many for that one. That was a miss. Who's going to be the next Notre Dame head coach? They say Luke Fickell. Maybe Urban Meyer. Luke Fickell. I don't know. Luke Fickell would be a great hire, man. He's done wonders at Cincinnati. Bruning, thank you very much. Lindsey Mack. You have a great weekend with Myles Garrett hanging out. Look at Lindsey Mack hanging over the sideline. Damn Cleveland Brown fans. Lindsey Mack, I liked you. And now you and Bruning are in the same damn camp. Fickell or Friedman is what Bruning said. Bruning, man, I need a get me in a new one of your program leagues. I need a redo, man. Bruning. I can't. My recruits are trash. My team is bad. After the Cincy blog. We love y'all. Thank y'all for being here, tapping in with us every single day. Make sure you tapped in. Honestly, make sure you tapped into besttv.com, especially before the games on Sunday. If you want to place some bets, tons of content over there. Jordan and I will be out for the rest of the week, but there are so many people to have you covered. Make sure you tap into all of that. Y'all have a great weekend. Let's enjoy it, and let's prepare for chaos on Monday. We'll see you then. We out of this thing. Peace.